Welcome. Today we're gonna have a bit of fun. So, let's get started.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that intro. To start, a light layer foundation. You want to remove any color from your face, but leave any blemishes, so no concealer. When powdering your face, make a weird face and powder your lips. This gives the illusion of cracked lips. Contour will be a little bit different this time. Start with the usual, but a bit heavier. Then, contour around your eyes to give them a hollow, sunken, tired look. Take a light blush and put it just under your eyes to make them look a little bit swollen. Then take grease or cream paints and Castor Sealer. Tear up a sponge so you don't have any hard edges. First color you will want is a light gray. Mix it with a little bit of the Castor Sealer. Stubble this color around your eyes and on the corners of your mouth. Mixing grease or cream paints with Castor Sealer will give the same effect as if you mix it with 99% alcohol, but without the fumes. So, safe to work around the eyes. Next, mix a purple into the sealer and stipple it over the gray. Using a different ripped sponge. Diffuse the colors a little. You don't want them to be too prominent. Take a dark kind of gray purple and repeat the previous steps. I then added a little bit of blush to my nose to make it look just a bit irritated. After, take a dark blue, but this time no sealer, and just stipple it on a little. Lastly, I removed some of the color because it was a bit too heavy. I did this by dousing a sponge in 99% alcohol, dabbing it in the areas that were too heavy, and patting it down with a tissue. I also powdered it down to remove any extra shine.
Yeah, that's about it. It's not much. Hope you enjoyed. To anyone wondering what this weird brown sludge is, I shall explain later. Anyway, weird brown sludge. It is equal parts brown corn syrup. I used a very watery maple syrup, but if you don't have that, water it down a little bit. You want it to be about the consistency of blood, as you can see. Bit of an opacifier, like cocoa powder. And if you have it, a fair amount of brown food coloring. And it actually tastes pretty good. Bye!
You want to remove any color from your face to leave. Lastly, I removed some of the color because it was a bit too heavy. To do this, I doused a sponge in 99% alcohol and dabbed it over the areas. I then patted it down with a tissue. Hey, what was that? Lastly, I removed some color because it was just a bit too heavy. To do this, I took another sponge, doused it in alcohol, removed some of What am I doing? Lastly, I removed some of the color because it was a bit too heavy. I did this by dousing a sponge in 99% Lastly, I removed... Why is this line so difficult today? Lastly, I removed some... Lastly, I removed some of the color by dousing an I don't douse. Here. Lastly, I removed some of the color because it was a bit too heavy. I did this by dousing a sponge in 99% alcohol, dabbing it on the color. Lastly,